Hello my pokey people, my name is Rage and welcome it all to some more Sun and Moon discussion, hype and theorizing, and I think it's finally time to address the elephant in the room. Don fans, seriously man, can you fuck off? Okay, now that we've done that, I think it's finally time to address the eerily accurate list of air quotes leaks that was released. When they initially got released, everyone was like, what are you smoking? But as more information has come true, it's kind of getting scarily accurate. To the point where we pretty much have confirmation of the final form of the free starters, which, I mean, alright, let's have a look at them. So here we have the artwork that was leaked of the free final form starters, and initially everyone was like waving your hand, dismissing them, whatevs. Litten gonna be a bipedal fighter? Not when hell freezes over. But, as it turns out, for reasons we'll discuss, this is probably going to be the final form of the starters. Now, fortunately, Litten is going to be Fire Dark because he is based on a heel wrestler, which is the wrestler that gets booed by the audience when they walk in. You know, the bad guy in the wrestling story that everyone wants to be defeated, who seems to be about to triumph, but then gets slammed down at the final moment. Not to mention, these wrestlers are known for fighting dirty, and indeed, in Litten's description, or at least of the leaked description of this form, he's supposed to blow like ember clouds in his opponent's eyes to blind them. So yeah, he's kind of a bastard in how he fights, so that really does support it as well. So Fire Dark works really well for that, and he's got this. Honestly, admittedly, I do like the design. If it wasn't for the previous bipedal fightery looking fire Pokemon, this would be epic and everyone would love it. I mean, that is one muscly wrestling badass cat, and firing a flame wheel out of his belt is pretty damn incredible, and just his general outlook is very, very cool. And he supposedly has a signature move too, and it's this Litten one that adds credence to this being true, because it does have the captain of the island in the picture, which obviously wasn't revealed until a long time after this picture. So yeah, there is something going on there, but obviously this by itself wouldn't just confirm it, but we'll get more to that later on. Let's have a little look at Rowlet then. So we have the Archer Owl Pokemon, and that's a very, very neat thing. I think based on these three, I am still very content with Team Rowlet, I have to say, but it's a lot closer in their final forms than it is in their initial ones, because honestly, I think all three of them are pretty damn good looking, and I think they might be in contention for the best trio of starters in a long time, at least as far as their final form is confirmed. And the thing is, it was leaked that the final starter forms will be based on an archer, a wrestler, and a siren, so it really is, well, to quote Pokemon Sun and Moon, all coming together. So this one's gonna have, most likely, a lot of special attack. It's probably still going to be grass flying based on the looks of it, because that kind of makes sense. It's definitely not a grounded looking owl, which I think is unfortunate. I think the burrowing owl ground route would have been very cool, but it's probably going to be very fast and very specially attacking, and I imagine a signature move involving the firing a feather as an arrow with its wing. I mean, how cool is it? A Pokemon that uses vines as bowstring and its own feathers as arrow, and then its wing to form the bow to like pew 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 down its opponents. I think that's really genius, and honestly, yeah, I want that as a Pokemon, because we gotta kind of look at these and go, since they seem like they're true, would we like them to be? And for me, honestly, I would not be disappointed, and I think that's all it really needs to be at this stage. So yeah, I'm really liking it. I love owls, I do, and while some of you might not give a hoot about it, I really, really like this. And then finally, Poplio's final evolution in the form of this siren-based creature. Now, don't get me wrong, it is quite a beautiful looking Pokemon, very majestic, but I think we can all agree here, definitely very feminine in appearance. Which is obviously fine, but I am, as you know, a person that likes my Pokemon to be the gender that they look like. And if I had a male Poplio that was rocking that look, I'd be like, I'm gonna restart the game loads until I get a female one. Because, you know, it just kind of makes sense. There's no real basis for it, honestly. I mean, it's just something I like to do. So, I do feel like they should avoid making starters definitely look either too feminine or masculine, just for people who kind of like to have their genders match up with the visuals of the Pokemon. But in the objective sense, I do really like how this looks. It's a very, very pretty, I guess, Pokemon, and honestly, a lot better than I thought Poplio would end up looking like, which I guess is, again, the main thing. I also hope that this final form, Poplio here, really has something to play with the siren nature, the song that lures people in, and, well, then they devour them. You know, their classic tales of sailors being drawn to their doom by the irresistible siren song. I think that would be a really cool special move to give it, you know, the signature move for Poplio. Hell, calling it Siren Song would be badass. Now, there is part of this rumor mill a line that says that each of the starters have got 2 different final evolutions. However, this is very much the least firmly asserted leak. It's very much a may have 2 final evolutions. And to me, this Poplio one kind of makes sense, because this goes way beyond Delphox. This, to me, very much shows that there is a male and female final evolution of each starter. Because wouldn't that be cool if the Alola starters had a different final form dependent on their gender? I think that would end up being a really, really cool idea. I mean, Rowlet is the most, I mean, they get away with both with that, but definitely a female wrestler version of Litten and a male version of the Siren final form of Poplio could be a very cool thing. So I hope that that is true, but really, who the hell knows? So let's have a look at the rest of the list of leaks then that very much add credibility to these final forms, which, as a final thought, I do think are fine, I do think are cool, and I think people will like them. I mean, obviously, let me know what you think, but that's where I am. So, according to the list of stuff, we're gonna get Ash Greninja in-game. I mean, I honestly thought that would happen. I thought it'd be a special event Pokemon and you could just have it looking like Ash Greninja. It would function like a normal Greninja, but you just have the Ash form and that's cool. It's not really much we need to go over on that part. So this one did predict that we will get the basically Alola forms. We had it say to us that the Alolan Rattata and Raticate is going to be a dark type. I mean, that's not a huge deal, but this does make sense completely that there is an Alolan Rattata / Raticate because of Yungoos, because it mirrors the actual real-life scenario where mongooses were introduced to Hawaii to combat a rodent problem, and then they got kind of out of hand themselves. So a very delicate balance between Yungoos and Rattata is seemingly going to be in play in the region, so having an Alola version of them makes complete sense for that, so they both feel like fresh Pokemon. And Dark type, I mean, it's fine, it's a rat, what more do you want? Butterfree is going to be Bug Psychic, which just makes complete sense. I mean, it always should have been, really. Like, it looks like a Psychic Bug, it learns Psychic moves. A Bug Psychic Butterfree could be really cool. If they sleeken out the design, make it look like a much more impressive, like, hive insect, I think it could be really, really badass. We have Abracadabra and Alakazam becoming a fighting type. I mean, that just makes sense. Flip the switch on a psychic to a fighting. It's something that we've seen a lot, like especially with Mewtwo's Mega Evolution. So I'm kind of excited to see that, because they are kind of lithe Pokemon, you know. They've got the form that would give them the agility, they just tend to kind of hover and use their psychic powers. So seeing a more physically inclined version of them, I think it's going to be a very, very fast Pokemon with lots of nimble strikes. We have Nidoking and Nidoqueen, who are supposedly getting a poison slash fighting form, which is, I mean, that one makes complete sense. They are big, hulking, dinosaur-like creatures. You'd think they would punch the crap out of everything. Anyway, there's really not much to say with this one. It just kind of makes sense. Then we have another old classic, very much a la Ninetales, a la Sandslash, in the form of Arcanine the Growlithe becoming a water type. So flipping the types on them like they did with the other, and we get a lovely water Arcanine, which could actually be quite beautiful. If they take the Ninetales route and make it really majestic, that is just great. And then finally we have Doduo and Dodrio, who become a fighting flying type, and this again makes sense because ostriches are fucking mental, aggressive and fierce and will stab your face off. So a fighting version, yep, thumbs up. I bet it's going to look evil as fuck, and it's going to be kind of terrifying. So, also, apparently, we get a Furfrou with new styles. Yay! God, I was so hoping for that. Oh my god, that makes my Pokemon experience. And you can only get the previous versions of Pokemon by bringing them from older games, so you can't, like, breed them or anything, which is interesting. Then there's supposedly going to be a new cat Pokemon that varies in type and appearance based on breeding. So, by default, it's a normal type cat Pokemon. It will take on the primary type of its father parent during breeding, and when it hatches, it will be normal slash that type and look different based on the type that it inherits, which is a very, very cool concept for a Pokemon, I have to say. I'm excited if that actually comes true. I really, really am. Then we also have apparently a new Snowman Pokemon with 2 stages. That's Ice Ghost. I mean, whatever, I guess that's fine if we do. And then we also have the older leaks that really help give everything a little bit of authenticity. They called that there would be no gyms in Alola, and actually your goal is to create one during the game, and that's how you interact with the Elite Four, so that's pretty damn cool. They said the Diamond Stones will be collectible, act similar to Mega Stones, but not exactly, which is kind of proven true in the form of a Z attack. We have new Pokemon apparently based on a Dolphin, Seacom Cuban, Snowman Mushroom, and a Rugby Monkey, so we'll see them. And finally, Rockruff's evolution is likely to be a werewolf, which actually pretty damn badass. A werewolf Pokemon is awesome. So basically, this called a lot of stuff that is coming true, and it kind of looks like everything on this list will come true, so I'm kind of very excited to see it. Honestly, none of it makes me go, oh no, I hope that doesn't happen, because it all does sound really, really quite fine. So here's hoping. And yeah, what do you guys think? Would you be sad if this turned out to be true? Would you be pumped? I mean, let me know. I do like all of this speculation, and I am all for it. Once again, Sun and Moon just look so good, and I need it at this point. I need it so badly. Like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Oh, goodbye.